This book fucked me up. I cried. Taylor Jenkins Reid didn't need to do all that, but she did all that. What a fucking roller coaster. Holy shit. Hello and welcome to Mostly Sapphic Books, where I am on a mission to read every single book about lesbians. Today, I finally read Atmosphere by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Guys, I heard a lot about this book going in. I knew it was going to be good. I've heard only good things about it. I've never read Taylor Jenkins Reid before. This is my first time reading Reid, and it was an experience. If you haven't heard of this book, you might be living under a rock, but if you are living under a rock, that's okay. This book is about two of the first female astronauts at NASA in the United States in the 1970s and 1980s, and they fall in love, except they have a very illicit kind of affair. They cannot be out with this relationship, both because it is the 1970s and 1980s, and also because they have high-profile government jobs, and also they're some of the first women in the space program, and so they're in this position of being forced to be these feminist pioneers, and they absolutely cannot have the scandal on their backs. This book is called Atmosphere, a love story, and it is a love story that spans several years of them meeting and getting to know each other and sort of coming to terms with their sexualities. For one of these characters, she doesn't know she's queer until she meets the other one. Them learning to love each other and learning to work within the confines that the world has placed them in, and learning when to break those confines and when not to, and learning what is important to them. They both have these jobs that they're absolutely so stoked to have. They're incredibly honored to be these first female astronauts, and like they've wanted this more than anything in the world their entire lives. But now they have each other, and now they have love, and is love more important than that? And like, what do they prioritize, and what are their values? And the twist here, if you want to call it a twist, it's not really a twist. Right in the beginning, we get foreshadowing that one of them in 1984 is going to go on the space shuttle, and something is going to go very, very wrong. And we don't know if they are going to live, if anyone on this crew is going to live, if they're going to make it, or if everybody dies. One of them is in space, struggling to stay alive and keep the ship going and keep the rest of the crew alive, and one of them is on the intercom, the person in mission control, like giving them directions and giving them help and speaking to them over the radio. And you can imagine how just fucking harrowing that would be in any situation. But also these two women are lovers and are secret lovers, and they can't even tell each other all of these things that they want to say and what could be their final moments together, because they have to keep this secret, and everyone is listening in, not even just like the rest of the crew. It's like publicly available. All of their families know that they're on the ship and everything's going wrong. The whole world is watching, and they can't even just say, I love you, please come home safe. I miss you, I love you. That's what a fucking gut punch. And the book is structured mostly chronologically, where most of the book is from Joan's perspective. Joan is an astronomer who becomes an astronaut. She sees this opportunity that they're allowing in a batch of female astronauts, perhaps, and she wants to be one of the first. She gets a job here, she meets the crew, she becomes an official astronaut, and then she falls in love with Vanessa, who is our other main character. But really, we mostly only get Joan's perspective, except in those sparse few flash-forward chapters where Vanessa is on the space shuttle fighting to stay alive. So it's mostly their love story, with every once in a while you get these intermissions of the absolute fucking tragedy that this book ends in. And you, as the reader, have no idea if Vanessa is going to survive this mission. Or if anyone is going to survive this mission. They might all die. There are also other astronauts on the shuttle as well, and we get to know them over the course of the book, which is really kind of a feat, because you learn right away that this ship's fucked. They're not all going to make it. There's no way in hell that all of these people are going to survive. And so when we get introduced to them at first, it's like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Last I saw him, he was fucking actively dying. So when you start reading this, it makes sense to be like, I'm not going to get super attached to these characters, because I don't think this is going to end up super well for them. But you do end up attached to the characters because the writing is just that good. And sometimes you forget that this is all going to end in a terrible tragedy, and you're watching like the side characters. Some of the other astronauts also fall in love, but they're straight people, so they're allowed to be in love and get married and have kids and, be publicly married astronauts. And you're like, good for them. And then you forget the fact that one of them is probably gonna die in space. But the book does a great job of making you like all of these people and like root for them, and you really see them as like this family. They are in this very unique job in this unique scenario, and they're all so grateful and honored to be here, and they know they have to collaborate and sort of be a family because they are relying on each other in space in case something goes wrong, which it will. It will go very tragically wrong. So I found myself liking the side characters, even though I really came into this book for the lesbian couple. I'm not like obsessed with the side characters, and they're not like my favorite characters in the world. And also, I knew bad things were going to happen, so I was intentionally trying to distance myself from them. But like, I liked them. I ended up liking all of the people in this book, even the ones you're sort of not supposed to like. I liked how they were written. There's a lot of characters in this that are bad people, but they're very well written bad people. There are no like comically evil villains in this book. Joan has a younger sister named Barbara who is this very irresponsible, sort of immature single mother. She had a child at a young age, and Joan is very involved in her niece's life. Frances is the niece's name. She looks out for Frances all the time, more so than Barbara in a lot of ways. And Barbara's so selfish and immature, and in a way that you just do not like this woman, and you know people like her and you don't like people like her, but she never feels like comically evil. There's a lot of books would just make her just the worst fucking human being on the planet. But this is a real human, not piece of shit, but like you don't like her, and the book does a great job of making you just fucking annoyed by her. And you see this very real relationship between the two sisters where Joan really does look out for her sister. She always has, because she's the older sister, and her little sister needs looking after. But also she loves this kid, and she sort of takes this kid into her life in a lot of ways. And Frances sort of becomes her daughter in a lot of ways. Oh my god, the kid is so cute. She's like 10, but like her relationship with Joan, and Joan sort of becoming a mother, not even because she wanted to, but like just because like she sort of has to, and she loves this kid like a daughter. And then the way Vanessa is sort of like reluctant to meet the family because she knows they can never have like a public relationship. And she knows like meeting the family, it makes it weird and complicated, and, you know, puts them at risk of being found out. They don't even know if like Joan's family would be okay with that. Vanessa's family isn't really okay with that. They don't really know. They're like totally in the closet here. And so Vanessa's hesitant to even meet Frances. But then they do, and then they have a great bond, and it's basically like Frances has these two moms, but Frances doesn't even know that they're together. They don't live together, but she comes over all the time, and they get to spend all this time together with her aunt's friend, and it's like, oh, it's so cute. Like, they basically have a kid, but they're not allowed to have a kid, and they can't officially have a kid, and the kid doesn't even know that she's got two different moms now. Oh my god. I loved that sort of maternal relationship that's going on. And that really is a big driving force in Joan's life. Like, she really does love this kid. And that feeling of love, of family, that she invites Vanessa into, and that she has Frances in, like, that's a big theme of the book. And, like, love versus her aspirations of, like, what she wants out of her career. And, like, what her career means to her, and, like, what being an astronaut means. There's a lot of, like, philosophizing in this about the nature of the universe and God and all of that stuff, because they go up in space and they see the Earth as like just this little ball, and there's so much more out there to explore, and we're all tiny little ants on this rock, and, you know, we fight over borders, but really if you look at it from above, we're all just on the same little fucking planet, and all of these things are like so meaningless and silly and small. And so we get into like the grand philosophizing of like, what are the chances that I got to be here at this time with these people, and like, is that God? Is God real? What is God? Is God like a spiritual thing or an actual person? It's just like beautiful. There's beautiful passages about like the meaning of life, or like what life means to these people, and like what they prioritize and love is beautiful, and it fucks you up real bad. There's a beautiful passage right at the end where Joan's like, if Vanessa does die, like what an incredible fucking honor that I got to spend 4 years of my life with her, and like what are the chances that we got put together and that we got to experience this love, and that can never be taken away. No matter what happens today, we'll always have those 4 years and that moment in time. And it fucks you up. It fucks you up so bad. I cried. Taylor Jenkins Reid is such a good writer. I understand why she's popular now. I've never read any of her other books. She does have another queer one called The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. I've heard great things about that. I'm gonna read that one now. I hope it doesn't fuck me up and make me cry a lot. But if it does, it'll be a good experience, but also fuck you, Taylor Jenkins Reid, for making me cry a lot. Something I also liked about this writing style is that it's kind of different than the writing style I tend to prefer. I almost want to call it distant, but it's not distant at all. You don't feel really any distance from these characters. I'm going to call it like functional and efficient. This book spans several years, and so we're getting like shorter scenes of like vignettes of their life and like moments in their life that are sort of crucial or like build up to like a thesis of like this is what a sort of day to day looks like or things like that. It spans a long stretch of time, and therefore you can't like go into extreme detail in these scenes. We have to keep moving the plot along. We have to keep moving time along. And sometimes there are like cuts where it's been a few months and things have changed in some ways, or they've settled into different routines or whatever has happened. I tend to prefer, in some instances, in most instances maybe, like a more immersive writing style where you maybe have fewer scenes, but they're longer scenes and like you really get into the nitty gritty of the moment. I think immersive is the best way to say that. Where a couple goes out for dinner, and you know she picks up the fork. She hears the fork scrape against the plate as she spears a tender slab of salmon. There's a staple in the chair that's digging into her thigh. Like all of these little details that like really build the atmosphere of one specific scene. I feel like that writing style tends to be more common in the books I usually read. I think I write more like that, and I think like more contemporary works usually read like that. Like this almost feels like an older style of writing in a way. Not really, but it feels like, I don't know, I would guess that Taylor Jenkins Reid was like Gen X, like a different generation. I feel like my generation and younger people tend to write like differently. I don't know if this is making sense, but this is like just functional. It just tells you what you need to know, and it doesn't need to like set an atmosphere. If they're at dinner, they're just at dinner. Maybe it says that she ordered salmon, but really they just have the conversation that they're having, and then the scene moves on and you've gathered all your information, and the sort of mood and tone comes from outside. It's just like the whole of it, the scope. You don't sacrifice any lost atmosphere or like lost mood or like lost character introspection or anything like that necessarily. Because again, this book fucks you up. You feel it. Like, you don't feel distance from these characters at all. You feel the shit. But I think a lesser writer could do this writing style, and you would be missing like some of that emotion, like the character introspection. And you don't necessarily need like the character telling you their emotions, spelling it out very on the page repetitively. That happens a lot in books too, and that's not good either. But I think some writers could do this and like mess it up where you wouldn't really understand the emotions of the characters because it's moving like too fast, or it's not focusing on like exactly the right things, where it's like blazing through it in a weird way. But Taylor Jenkins Reid like absolutely nailed this style of writing, like a masterclass of this sort of pacing and structure of the book. It's very functional and efficient, no extraneous details. That writing style is very conducive to this being adapted into a movie, which it is. I think I did hear about that, but I had to double check. I googled that, and this is being adapted into a movie, which was so good. Because even right away, I was like, oh, this would be the perfect book to adapt into a movie. This would be so easy to adapt into a movie. Because the text itself doesn't rely on, like, internal monologues, where Joan is really telling you exactly how she's feeling, or, like, her observations. Like, you're sort of seeing it on the page. It's very concrete. This would be so easy to adapt. This movie's gonna fucking rock. It's gonna make you fucking cry. No, I'm gonna cry so bad. I'm excited for this movie. This feels like a good movie too. Like real fucking classic, nostalgic Americana. Holy shit, this felt like a real movie. Not like a lesbian movie. Not like a lesbian book. I don't know, I'm saying movie instead of book. You get what I mean? It both applies. This didn't feel like niche audience. This felt like fucking The Rocketeer, those kind of like space flight Americana old school movies from like the 90s, early 2000s that like everybody's seen. This feels like that. This feels like general population, like fucking Oscar winner. Everyone's seen this movie. Very well respected. I could see this winning awards if you get like good actors, because again, like you're not like bogged down by this internal monologue, and the scenes are so efficient that like I think the actors would really have room to like portray this in just like the facial expressions and the way this goes and some of the monologues. Oh my god, it's gonna be so good, you guys. If they botch this and it flops, I'm gonna be mad. And it's their own damn fault. Because this shit it's so telegraphed perfectly for a movie. I can see it perfectly. And I'm not even a director or anything like that. I have written scripts before, but not professionally, and not like a lot of them. I don't really know the movie industry that well. But like you could fucking nail this so easy. It would be so hard to mess this up. So if they mess it up, I'm gonna be pissed about it. I think I'd love to see like a general populace, big time, award-winning, well-respected, well-received movie with like a lesbian couple at the heart of it. That's not like about lesbians. Like you would come into this for like the space stuff, NASA, like the first female astronauts and some of the first astronaut missions ever. I feel like straight people would watch this and then they wouldn't be like, oh my god, it's just about lesbians. It's just a silly romance about lesbians. Why is everything gay nowadays? I mean, there will be homophobes who don't like this, obviously, but I think like a general profile of a general straight person could go see this movie because they're interested in space or something, and then they'd be like, wow, that was a really touching romance, and like the struggles they had to face. And it's not like in your face, it's not like overly queer in a way that's unpalatable to the common straight man. I feel like this would really emotionally resonate with people. And it's not gay for like the sake of being gay. Like you couldn't tell the story with two straight astronauts because then they would just be out. They would just be a married couple. And again, there is a straight astronaut married couple here as like the foil for like the life our main characters can't have, even though they're in the exact same situation and they love each other just as much. So this is a gay story, and like it has to be gay, and you can't get people being like, it should have just been straight, why did she have to be a lesbian? That's the whole thing. That's the whole driving like trauma of the book. Not trauma, but like drama. I feel like if I took my grandfather to see this movie, it would hit him emotionally. And my grandfather's one of those like silently homophobic guys. Like he doesn't go around preaching about how gay people are going to hell, but probably in his head he's like, that's weird. I don't really know gay people. We didn't really have that growing up. I think gay people are kind of weird, and so I'm just not gonna talk about it or think about it ever. But he's a pilot, and Vanessa was a pilot before she became a spaceship pilot. And so like I think he'd be interested in like the space aeronautics of this, and then he'd see it and be like, wow, I was touched by the emotional impact of this relationship and the way these two women love each other and the way they are held back from that love and just how fucking pure and beautiful that love is. Like I feel like this could change the mind of a homophobe. And I think there's still room for that in this world. It was kind of nice to read a book about homophobia in a weird way. I would not have said that 10 years ago, or when I came out as gay. I was very much in search of like queer joy books, and that is mostly what I read, and that's like what I'm mostly interested in now in reading. I read a lot of books that are like queer utopia. Everybody's gay. The main characters are gay. All the side characters are gay. Not for any reason, except that probably the author's gay. And we want to see a bunch of gay people having gay little adventures and being gay and being themselves and being out and being proud and not facing those problems, because there was definitely a time in my lifetime where all of the queer stories were tragedy porn like this, where everything went wrong and the people couldn't be themselves. If I had read this when I was like 12 and I had first come out, I probably would have been like, this is like objectively a good book, but I want to see like happy gay people. I want to read books about gay 12-year-olds who are happy, and like, I mean, I've read sad gay stories about how gay people were gay and in the closet because they couldn't be openly gay before, you know? I was kind of tired of that at this point. But it was kind of sort of nice to revisit in a modern context where we do have a lot of queer positive books now, and like queer normative books. And it sort of does reconnect you to that history of homophobia. Not that we don't have homophobia now, obviously. But sort of, you know, the historical context of that, and it not being that long ago. You know, 80s was 40 years ago, that's not right. 80s was like 20 years ago, right, guys? But still, not that long ago. Like, people still alive, obviously, were in, like, these terribly unfair situations. And it just fucking tugs at your heartstrings. What a fucking touching book. What a touching subject matter. And again, it is something that has been written before, not exactly with like astronauts, but like that homophobia story. But like this is so well done. It's so heartfelt. Oh, this hit you harder than like this hit me harder than like most other homophobia kind of stories that I can think of. And it does it in this real way. Again, what I was talking about with the sister, of how she's like a bad person, but she's a real bad person, where she's not comically evil and you know people like her. This is like real human homophobia and like the class systems. And it's not even that they experience these like daily bouts of direct homophobia. None of their colleagues like know they're gay and are like, you know, blackmailing them or anything like that. It's just like the systematic threat of, we know this is unfair, but like you can't do this, and it's a security issue, it's a public image issue. You work for the government. It's just, unfortunately, it's just not allowed. You just can't do it. So you see like this very human systematic issue, and the people who are aiding and abetting that in a way, even if they don't like agree with it, they're like, but like they know that that's the system and that's the way it unfortunately has to be, and they don't see like this route of change. And it's really heartbreaking and just like fucking human. That's what this book is. It's a fucking human experience. It does it so well. It's so like real. And this is a fictional story. It's not about real historical figures. Sally Ride is mentioned here. We don't get a lot of her. She's a real person. That, you know, it wouldn't make sense for this to be like Sally Ride fan fiction. But I imagine this was somewhat inspired by Sally Ride, who was the first female astronaut, who was a lesbian. But like not directly inspired. This isn't her life story or anything. And she just gets like randomly mentioned that she is still the first woman in space. And because she did such a good job, then people like Vanessa and Joan were able to continue that legacy, and you know, they kept putting women in space. But like all the history of that, like it feels real. Like it's really like true slice of life. Like such an immersive sort of experience. I can't like attest to how accurate the science is when they're in the ship and they're doing things and flying jets and in zero gravity chambers and stuff. Like, I don't know how accurate that is, but it felt accurate. It felt real. It was so good. It was so good. One of the best books I've read this year, for sure. I'm so glad it's getting a movie. And like so touching. This went straight onto my favorite shelf on Goodreads, and I don't list all that many books on my favorite shelves. I think it's like under 25 right now. So this fucking impacted me. What a great book. What a well-written fucking masterpiece of human emotion. It'll fucking tug your heartstrings out. Holy shit. Also, at no point do you know how this ends. I did not know if she would live or die at the end of this book. And I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it, because I think that's part of the experience. Like, you absolutely do not know at any point if she's going to live or die. Obviously, you want her to live, but like you understand the reality of the situation and how like they might all die. That's totally possible. That's absolutely happened in real life where these missions have gone wrong. And the book never coddles you. Like some books, you read it and you know that they're going to survive. Or like you watch a TV show and you're like, obviously that person's not actually going to die. You can do like a fake out life or death scenario situation, and at no point are you actually concerned that that person is going to die. In this book, you do not know. It could genuinely go either way. You're hoping for the best, but you also know that the book is like totally ready to frame this as like this beautiful love story, even if it turns out for the worst. Again, that moment at the end with Joan thinking about how lucky she is that she got to have this at all, even if it all ends today. What a wonderful experience this was. You can never take loved away. Thank you, Tamsin Muir, for that quote. That absolutely fucking fits this book so hard. This got me, guys. This is a great fucking book. You should read this book. I should have read it sooner. I knew it was going to be good. I've heard nothing but good things, but I didn't know it was going to be this good. If anything, I thought maybe it'd be overhyped, and then by the time I get around to reading it, you know, it won't blow me away like everyone keeps saying it will, but this fucking blew me away way more than anyone said it would. I didn't know I was going to cry like that. This fucking rocked. You should read it. It was beautiful. What a beautiful, beautiful book. Go see the movie whenever that comes out. I don't know if that's coming out. I think it like just got announced that it's going to be a movie, so it'll probably be a couple years. Also, I hope they actually make it, because I know sometimes things like get picked up, but they never get like fully greenlit. Like they work on it. Please make this movie. It'd be so good as a movie, guys. I see the vision so clearly. The vision's there. It's so fucking road mapped out. It'd be so easy and it'd be so good. Guys, this would be so good. If you don't make this fucking movie and make it good, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm gonna fight. I'll fight whoever I need to fight. I don't know what studio's making it. I don't know who the director is. I actually did look it up. I think it's 2 directors. It's a man and a woman. I got 2 hands. I'm punching both of you at the same time. Okay, figure it the fuck out. You got this. Don't let me down. Oh, but that's it. Highly, highly recommend this. Beautiful. Beautiful book. I love literature. I love books, guys. This is what books are all about. And, like, that sense of human connection and, like, understanding and empathizing with another person. These fictional people and their beautiful, beautiful life. Oh my god. Read the book, guys. It's really good. Trust me. 5 stars. Easy.